I want to welcome everybody to the double hitter demonstration for this evening. NAZIYAH, is life in prison enough for Jarvis butts? Salute to the replay gang. Salute to the chat. Salute to my moderators. Now, can sex offenders be rehabilitated? Pulled up some information. So this is what one website has to say. It says, yes, sex offenders can be rehabilitated. Research indicates that treatment, particularly cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, and relapse prevention techniques can reduce both sexual and non-sexual recidivism. However, the effectiveness of treatment varies depending on individual factors and the specific approach used. It says factors influencing rehabilitation: treatment effectiveness. CBT and relapse prevention strategies have shown promise in reducing the rates. Individualized approach. Treatment is most effective when tailored to the specific risk factors, needs, and offense patterns of each individual. It says risk assessment. Identifying high-risk offenders and providing them with more intensive treatment can be beneficial. It says community support. Supportive community reintegration programs can help reduce barriers to successful reentry and reduce the risk rates. Important considerations: not a guarantee. While treatment can significantly reduce the likelihood of reoffending, it is not a foolproof solution for all. Ongoing research. Further research is needed to understand the nuisance of treatment effectiveness and identify the most effective approaches for different individuals. Focus on prevention. Educational programs for children and parents to increase awareness of potential risks and vulnerabilities can also play a crucial role in preventing sexual offenses. In conclusion, rehabilitation for sex offenders is possible and is a key component of public safety. A combination of effective treatment, individualized approaches, and supportive community reintegration can significantly reduce the risk of reoffending. What are your thoughts? Salute to the chat. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to my moderators. Let me see what the chat is saying before I get into my commentary. Ambrosia says, how would they know it's effective? They'd have to be around children, and that's too high a risk. Gigi says, I don't want him living in my neighborhood. We got a new subby. Can I get everybody to give Leo the Lion a warm welcome? Appreciate you for pulling up with us for the first time, Leo the Lion. Everybody give Leo the Lion a warm welcome. It says, let me see what this says. It says, What is the best treatment for sex offenders? It says, current research indicates that the most evidence-based therapy for sex offenders with the best outcomes is CBT. In addition, a person-centered approach has been demonstrated to be most effective. This is understandable given the shame and suspicion felt by many offenders. My thing, once again, because a sex offender is a moral crime, like I said, it's one thing if you go in the store, you steal something out of a store. You know, it's one thing if you get caught with a pow-pow. You get caught selling drugs. But for a immoral crime as inappropriate touching, I'm just, and the programs, if it's programs that's behind bars, fine. Hey, what these inmates do in prison with their time, that's on the inmates. I don't believe that inmates should just be sitting around not doing nothing. I do believe that there should be programs in prison for rehabilitation. I'm just not one on having a sex offender being released from prison. Now, is life in prison enough for Jarvis Butts? Drop a 1. Let me see where the chat is at and the replay gang. Drop a 1 if y'all feel like life in prison is good enough. Drop a 2 if you disagree. Some crimes you just can't be rehabilitated. Sorry, I'm with you. I see some 1s, 2 to drop the 1. Capricorn dropped the 2. Mel dropped the 1. Almighty dropped the 1. Miss Bull dropped the 1. Gigi dropped the 2. Capricorn dropped the 2. Ambrosia dropped the 2. Lady K dropped the 1. Talana says, Shank and family, how many people really think Butt Monster is shamefaced for the things he's done? I don't think he's ashamed. I don't think he's remorse, none of that. I think the only thing is he's upset that he got caught. He shouldn't come home at all. A 4-year-old, he should have never came home. Now, I want to shout out Miss Parker and her riders. One thing I can say about Miss Parker and her riders, Miss Parker riders remind me of my rock squad when we used to cover the Shanquilla Robinson case, how my rock squad was, digging beneath the surface and coming up with so much information. Now, Miss Parker's riders has been on this NAZIYAH Harris case like butter on toast. We wonder how was Jarvis able to operate and not get caught? We wonder how Miss Annette was able to operate and not get caught, right? Later on, we find out that one of Miss Annette's children, I gotta say allegedly, one of Miss Annette's children is an officer, right? Did y'all know? And drop a 3 if y'all knew that Jarvis' sister, because I don't know if this is Jarvis's brother. So, but I do know that what I'm about to show y'all is Jarvis's sister brother. This is Jarvis's sister brother. Like I said, strong possibility that it's Jarvis's brother as well. But there was a post that his sister put up. Big shout out to Miss Low Key. Appreciate this, Miss Low Key. But this was a post from these. Now, I'm not sure the date, but the year 2000. And let me make sure I got the right date on here. She put a post up December the 19th. Tawana put up a post December the 19th, 2022. And she says, "Happy 31st birthday, baby brother." Do him and Jarvis favor each other? What are y'all thoughts? What are y'all thoughts? Emma says, "Wait, I just seen him being tagged in a post about another young girl going missing, and she was with an older man." Tudor says, "Nope." Lady Leo says, "Yes, and it's creepy." There it is, the connector. Yep, they favor. Kinda. No. Yes, they favor. They could be brothers with one different parent. Correct. Correct. Yes. Nah, looks nothing like Jarvis. Ew. Janelle allegedly said, "And that son is not a police officer." She said his development is too behind. No, they don't. I seen his last name and it caught my eye. Kinda, but not a lot. All right. Now, when you watch those Tubi movies, and I said this plenty of times, when you watch those movies that are on Tubi, and all of those movies that have been filmed and directed in Detroit and by those Detroit filmmakers, y'all notice all of those films, all of those movies deal with corrupted cops. I ain't seen a Tubi movie that come out of Detroit that don't got corrupted cops in it. And even in the NAZIYAH Harris case, the Detroit Police Department came and said they dropped the ball. They didn't investigate it. Because they had the CPS report. Detroit Police Department had the CPS report on Jarvis about the party that he inappropriately touched NAZIYAH. The CPS report didn't have NAZIYAH's last name on it, but Detroit Police Department got that CPS report. They didn't follow up. They never questioned NAZIYAH. So, I mean, we know how this thing go. People in high places. Come on, y'all. We know how this go. Yo, you know, we just got a report with your name on it. Dollar Bill says Detroit police is corrupt. Now, it was one thing back in the 80s and the 90s, the crooked cops, the police department, you know, and this was going on in every city. You had cop corruption where the cops would illegally search pedestrians. The cops would illegally search drivers. The cops would plant drugs and pow-pows. That was a big thing back in the 80s and the 90s. Cops would take bribes. But we went from the cops being corrupted as far as drug dealers and criminals. Now, cops are corrupted when it comes to sex trafficking. Believe it or not, a lot of cops are involved in sex trafficking. Back in the days before the drug game, and even when the drug game was around, but even before the drug game, cops was corrupted in the pimp game. There's always been corrupted cops. But you know, in pimping, it is what it is. You chose that life. You know, in the drug game, it is what it is. You chose that life. That type stuff come with the territory. But why is it corruption when it comes to sex trafficking, whether it's women, children, or even men? Because some men get caught up in sex trafficking. Little boys get sex trafficked all the time. I'll drop the link. If anybody want to join me on the panel, feel free to join me on the panel. Those on the replay gang, let's chop it up, y'all. Let's go deep into Jarvis butts. Now, in my opinion, Jarvis can't be rehabilitated. I don't think he can be rehabilitated. That'll be one that I'll just have to, you know, take an L on if I'm wrong. Because I'm sure those that believe in God, Muslims, Christians, Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm sure they'll be able to prove me wrong. I'm sure that, you know, they'll be able to quote scriptures from the Bible as well as the Quran about being saved, repenting, and things of that nature. Maybe I'm missing something. But I just don't see Jarvis being rehabilitated. And I do believe that life in prison is enough for Jarvis. Drop a 5. Drop a 5 if you feel like life in prison is enough for Jarvis. Drop a 6 if you disagree. KA says, no need to waste resources on Jarvis. He cannot be saved. That's where I'm at. It's just a waste of resources. He had his time. He had a chance. You know, they gave him a chance to be redeemed. Jarvis is spawned from the devil. That's the difference. Never. I'm with you, Tan. He had an opportunity to be reborn. How many NAZIYAH Harrises? How many Janiyahs? How many Brooklyn? How many other children is going to have to suffer at the hands of this monster? Get rid of him totally. I think castration plus life in prison. I'm for that, Freshie 915. I'm for that. Once again, I'm old-fashioned. I believe in what you do to somebody should be done to you. That's my belief. I think it's in Jarvis' DNA. Once he got turned out, Take his hands too. He got turned out. And once you get turned out, I know a lot of females, women that were of age that had never been with a woman. And that first woman experience, the woman got turned out. And there are many women that got turned out by women and they never went back to a man. It's hard when you get turned out. It's hard. Same way with drug addicts. When they get turned out, they turned out. I feel like Jarvis' mother was probably a victim, which allowed her to let happen to him. Salute, Tan. Gigi, you are right. Jarvis was sprung. Jarvis' brain is programmed. It can't be reset. And taking him out is to do it for him. You need to live and suffer. That's the only reason I don't believe in the goodbye penalty, because I believe you should live and suffer consequences. I see you, Pebbles and Michelle. If he can still use them hands, he's still dangerous, because here's the thing. Now, in prison, he might not be able to manipulate no children, but it's women that work in prison. You got women correctional officers. You got staff that's women. You know? So he's just looking and waiting for the next victim. And you know the cold piece, and I need to put this on everybody's mind. What if Jarvis is found not guilty? Have we looked at that possibility yet? What if Jarvis get found not guilty? This is gross to think about. Sorry, but do you think that he was able to perform with all of the horses in his stable? Don't know, but that's a good question, Jacqueline. I see you, Nick. CPS and cops are twin corruption. He could be found out guilty if they don't charge the case correctly by the evidence they had. I have not come to terms with that, but it's either he gets his in prison or me his maker on the streets. There's always a strong possibility. How many of us thought that P. Diddy was going to be found not guilty? Starting out when they when Homeland raided his homes, and starting out, we just knew P. Diddy was gone. We knew P. Diddy was going to be a goner. That is impossible with the sexual assaults that are against him, but he's still a bruiser, and he violated what I believe he was probably registered and not supposed to be with children like that. He could be found not guilty if they don't charge the case correctly by the evidence they had. Shank, Jarvis has a serious problem, and they have medicine for people that have this problem. And why was he not registered and violated for being around children? Good question. That would be crazy as you know what. He had a chance to take SO classes and try to rehabilitate when he S8, a 4-year-old. He didn't want to change. April says, you have to realize they like Casey Anthony walk. And there was a ton of evidence against her. That's a fact, April. How many of y'all remember that Casey Anthony case? And she walked. And the evidence was right there. It was right there. That evidence on Casey Anthony was all there, and she walked. She walked. For those that's watching it and following the Shanquella Robinson case, they haven't been locked up. And the evidence, Dejanay attacking Shanquella. Now we got to look at the prosecutor, Kim Worthy. It's a strategic move on the part of Jarvis because, you know, he got the new case. It's a strategic move. Jarvis didn't decide to represent himself on these new charges just because, you know, he's upset. We gotta get into the mind of Jarvis. Jarvis is a master manipulator. Jarvis is a thinker. Jarvis is constantly thinking. He's constantly thinking on ways to get over on the system. And even if he's found guilty, he can get an appeal. He got an appeal. And we've seen a lot of strange cases where people get off on them appeals. The judge violated their rights. The defense violated their rights. Prosecution. Look, y'all, it's all kind of loopholes in the criminal system. A lot of loopholes. It says, what medication do sex offenders take? The class of sexual offenders known as paraphiliacs can be treated with I can't pronounce these words, but it's a drug called ANTIANDROGENIC. It's Lord have mercy. Why did I pick this? Because I can't pronounce none of these words. But it's let me move on, y'all. I apologize. I can't pronounce these words, so ain't no need in me trying to struggle. It says, what disorders do sex offenders have? Sex offenders were 5 times more likely to have been hospitalized for schizophrenia or other psychotic disorders, and were 3 times more likely to have a history of bipolar disorder. Y'all laughing at Shank Rock? Y'all laughing at Shank Rock? From this point on, y'all can't say funky ass no more over here. From this point on, y'all can't throw the tacos up. And from this point on, y'all can't laugh at Shank Rock's pronunciation. And for y'all laughing at my pronunciation, I'm putting the chat and the replay gang on punishment. So there will be no more laughing at Shank Rock's funky ass pronunciation. It's gonna be trouble. I tried, Jacqueline. I be trying, Jacqueline. Lord only knows I be trying to sound it out. I do. I do my best. It says, Come on, Shank Rock, over here too. I've been drinking. See, there we go. There go Nikki, y'all. You just won't act right, will you, Nikki? Now let me punish y'all asses again. And y'all have Nikki to thank. It says, so what are y'all thoughts? It says sex offenders were 5 times more likely to have been hospitalized for schizophrenia or other psychotic disorders, and were 3 times more likely to have a history of bipolar disorder. Now, y'all remember in the movie Friday the 13th or Halloween, y'all remember Michael Myers was hospitalized for psychotic disorders. How many of y'all remember Halloween and Michael Myers? What are y'all thoughts? Do y'all think that Jarvis possibly suffer from schizophrenia or other psychotic disorders? Could he be bipolar? It says, no, I ain't messing with this. It says, what are 5 traits? What are 5 traits of a sex offender? What do y'all think? Does these 5 traits, do y'all see it or have y'all saw it in Jarvis's character? It says there's no such thing as a typical sex offender. However, most tend to be manipulative, deceptive, narcissistic, sexist, and Lord have mercy. Let me put it in the chat. Mel, somebody come up here and help me pronounce these words. So the last one is SECRETIVE. And remember, if y'all laugh at my pronunciation, I'm going to punish the chat in the replay game. But it's a list of 5 traits of sex offenders: manipulative, deceptive, narcissistic, sexist, and secretive, whatever the hell, with feelings of entitlement. Sex offenders come from all backgrounds, ages, social, economic, and ethnic groups. The majority of offenses are committed by someone the victim knows. A key thing that stick out to me: sex offenders have feelings of entitlement. What are y'all thoughts? Do you think that, and this is my opinion, and y'all build with me or destroy it, do you think Jarvis's feeling of entitlement comes from him being light-skinned? Do you think that Jarvis's feeling of entitlement comes from he had already been a victim himself? But what are y'all thoughts on the entitlement of him being light-skinned? Could he have felt a part of entitlement because of him being light-skinned? Come on in, Mel.
Shane, so now remember, a sex offender is different from pedophilia.
Okay.
A sex offender is more known as a rapist, you know? But a pedophile, remember, is a psychiatric disorder in people that have, I guess, fetishes or something for children 13 or younger. So say, for instance, Jarvis or anybody, any other guy or woman, they like girls are boys that are 16, 15. Those are not, they're not considered pedophiles. Give me a second.
Let me define entitlement real quick. April want me to define entitlement. Let me define entitlement, y'all. Okay, the dictionary says entitlement. It says the belief that one is inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment. No wonder your kids have a sense of entitlement. It says, okay, that's something different. But it says the belief is that one is inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment. So that's what entitlement means. Come on in when you need to, Mel.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, keep going on. I just want to get to where I want to be.
Okay, it says, what does it mean when someone has entitlement? It says, the entitlement mentality is defined as a sense of deservingness or being owed a favor when little or nothing has been done to deserve special treatment. It's the you owe me attitude. Entitlement is a narcissistic personality trait. It's not known exactly how this mentality develops.
Okay, just give me 1 second.
Take your time. I'm going to give it to you. The Bible consistently speaks against entitlement, emphasizing humility, gratitude, and selfless service. It portrays an entitled attitude as a form of pride that hinders spiritual growth and relationships. Instead, the Bible encourages a focus on God's grace, recognizing that all blessings are gifts, not earned entitlements. Let me grab some comments for Mel. Come back with us.
Okay.
It says, feeling like you're owed something just because. I believe this also and possibly some autism. The reason why he has a type. Most of or possibly all of his girlfriends suffer from something. And control because give them power that they don't feel they can have over an adult. Nikki says, go on, Shank. You like how I pronounced them words, didn't you, Nikki? I wasn't going to let y'all get me. I wasn't going to let y'all get me. I made sure I pronounced those words right. Now, I don't know what my funky ass going to do when I run into these other words that's coming up, but appreciate you, Nikki. It says, I'm not Team Jarvis. Look at all the women who was around him. They probably remind him of his mom. So the mentally won't change because that's all he know. Good point. Good point. I'm sure the monkey dog who did this to Jarvis had a sense of entitlement, which keeps going on and on. Tanisha says he can very well suffer from various underlying mental disorders that has never been diagnosed, which has manifested into the monster he is today. And that's what I was saying when I was speaking on the 13-year-old victim Jarvis. See, he never got help. I'm with you, Tanisha. The 13-year-old Jarvis that was a victim, he never got help. And that's why I said it's important. It's important that because boys and girls, we grow up totally different. Like for us boys, if something like that happened to us boys, and somebody said it in one of my demonstrations, but him being 13 years old and sleeping with that older woman, it was like a badge of honor to him, but it wasn't. And I'm gonna tell y'all why. I see you, OG Patrice, because when we look at the woman that inappropriately touched Jarvis, I mean, you can just imagine how he probably was feeling. He probably was scared. Jarvis was probably scared when he was being inappropriately touched by this woman. And then as a 13-year-old, for a 13-year-old, I mean, our third leg hasn't fully developed. So now you got this grown woman. Like I said, when I was 13, 14, 15, some of the girls that were my age, I was intimidated by some of those girls, because some of those girls, 13, 14, 15 years old, they had bodies like young ladies. Now you got an older woman with body parts compared to a 13-year-old kid whose third leg hasn't fully developed yet. It's going to be intimidated, because for us men, if when we're in the act of, you know what I'm talking about, if that female that we're in the act with, if they ain't making no noises, if we ain't pleasing them, it's going to hurt our ego. It gonna mess a boy up, because as a male, we pride. Males take our third leg, we wear that as a badge of honor. And if we laying down with a female, and if we ain't pleasing her, shit, if I'm hitting it, if I'm banging it, and she ain't making no noises, it's going to mess up my ego. And I know that we are looking at the monster Jarvis, but you gotta remember what turned the monster Jarvis into that monster. He wasn't always a monster. And until we accept the victim Jarvis, then we'll never be able to deal with future 13-year-old victim Jarvis. Jarvis ain't gonna be the last one. There are a lot of 12, 13, 14-year-old little boys that are being inappropriately touched. A lot of teachers are coming up pregnant by these little boys. I know what y'all saying. Shit, a boy, inappropriate with a grown woman. You gotta understand. And this is why I said, and I need women to listen. Women, y'all have to listen to us men, and y'all have to listen to us when we're little boys. Y'all cannot tell us how we feel. Like women are saying, Shank, Jarvis, he was enjoying it. Shank, it don't make a difference whether she was attracted or not. None of that matters, Shank. A younger boy with an older woman, he was enjoying it. That's not the case. We have feelings. And I'm not advocating for Jarvis the monster. I'm only advocating for that 13-year-old Jarvis that was a victim that didn't get help. The very woman, see, the woman was the monster. But do you see how the woman that was a monster that inappropriately touched the victim Jarvis, it got swept up under the rug? There's something wrong there. And let me tell y'all funky asses this, because yes, your ass is a funky ass if you cannot have compassion for the 13-year-old Jarvis that was a victim. It doesn't justify the monster, but you have to understand. I'm going to drop the link, but you have to understand that society has done the male species. Society has done us wrong. I know society has done the female species wrong as well, but it's a difference when the female species is done wrong. The female species gets the support. The female species gets the compassion. The female species gets the help.
So Shay, let me
Hold
just. I
tight.
see you got somebody
Hold,
else came up. So
oh,
I
yeah,
want
hold
to.
tight. Hold tight, Mel. I need to land this plane. Because it happens all the time. It even happens to Shank Rock's old funky ass. Nobody listens to Shank Rock. And I have to keep reinforcing this. I know about that much, but I know what I know. And most of y'all don't listen to Shank Rock. Shank Rock can smack y'all with the dead heavens truth. Won't listen because what Shank Rock has to say is not popular. Now, if I get on one, you understand what I'm saying? And if I come out of my peaceful mode, you know, if I start to mash on y'all hoes, if I start to stomp down on y'all hoes, oh, I'm going to get all the respect. All of y'all going to listen to me, right? If I don't smile, where you going at with all this, Shank? We don't want to hear this. Once again, nobody listened to Jarvis as the 13-year-old victim. And that's what gave birth to the monster. That woman should have been prosecuted. If that woman would have got prosecuted, and if Jarvis at 13 would have got the help that he needed, see, he needed the help at 13. But let me let my guests come in. I got Freshie, and then I got Nikki. Let me let Nikki slide in first, Freshie, because I know Nikki don't got a lot of time. Come on in, Nikki.
Shank, you can hear me, Shank?
Yes, sound good.
All right. I just wanted to say to you because from personal experience, when you were speaking about young men being touched on, older women, my husband went through that as a younger boy. It wasn't too young. I would say maybe about 12, 11, sleeping over at his cousin's house or his boy's house. And her friends, the mother friends used to come over. And he actually was in sexual relations with an older woman. And I remember him telling me that. But then I watched him as we interacted with just dating. And I see how high his sexual appetite was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's nothing wrong for having a high sexual appetite, but it's like me, and then, you know, it just made a lot of sense to me. Mm-hmm. But no, he never looked at young girls. He never, I mean, as far as like little girls. We have a young girl together. He helped me raise my 8-year-old daughter when we first got together, and he is so protective. He won't walk around with no t-shirts off. He won't walk around with white beaters. I try to build comfortability in him even to today. So let me tell you something. It affects a young person, a young boy, when they're being touched by women or men, however, but in his case, it was a woman. And it even affected our relationship in sometimes because I'm like, okay, your drive is a little bit much. Like, you know what I mean? But I knew where it was coming from. Right. And I just, you know, and believe, but if I didn't have a psychology background, I probably wouldn't believe or understood where, you know what I mean, what was happening at that moment. Thank God for that. And that was in nothing but God. Mm-hmm. To have somebody in your life that can listen, that can be there, that can sit by your side, that can hear you and can understand. I'm telling you, counseling is heavily needed with young boys when they're going through these particular experiences, because it's all about women, 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 women. But what about the young men?
Amen. And
And
that's
I
all
agree
I've been
with you. If
saying.
Jarvis would have had help back then, it could have changed something. Because everybody don't just have a sexual delight when they're touched younger for women. You have some people that was molested and they don't go to be molesters. They go to be advocates for children.
It's facts.
So that was just, I just wanted to come in and let you know you wasn't on your own when you were saying that. You know what I mean? Because me having a personal experience and my husband and stuff and things that he told me and stories he told me, and he's a good looking guy just like Jarvis.
Yep. Yep.
Just like Jarvis.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But he turned his life differently. He turned it to being a protector instead of a molester. So I'm gonna shut down, y'all. Y'all get ahead. But I'm right. I'm on the panel.
I'm so glad you came up and shared your husband's story, Nikki.
Thank you. I asked him. He right here. He just didn't want to share. He's right here. I asked for his permission first.
Okay, how you doing? Tell him I spoke. Tell him I said hi, and I'm glad that he was able to come to grips and not venture off and become a monster, because they say
he thought it was cute.
Right.
He was like, damn, I had chicks attracted to me when I was young as hell. I'm like, no, Sim, that ain't okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? That wasn't, I had to show him that wasn't okay.
Right.
So when I saw certain things, I'm like, that ain't cool. And then he started to look at it, and he never really speak too much on it. I just asked him just now, do you mind if I tell your story? And he was just like, I don't want to get on, but you can do what you gotta do. Don't turn that AC off because I'm chilling. So, I mean, he getting ready for bed. He worked hard all day. Yeah, but I just had to go in and say that because, it's a lot of men out there that don't like to tell their stories because they feel like they're alone or they feel like they participated.
Right.
And he may have felt like he participated in that moment, but there was no participation when you sleeping and you got somebody going down on you and you a young ass boy and she's a grown ass fucking woman.
Right.
Right. Come on now. And go find somebody your age to be attracted to.
Right.
Why y'all fuck these people up now, these kids up now? Over sexualizing everything.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I thank God for me being in his life, and I thank God for me being in mine. It's like, you know what I mean? Because who would have told him that? Nobody, probably.
Yep. Because it's a badge of honor for us as men. Appreciate that super chat, Sheila. Come on up. I dropped the link. If anybody else want to join us on the panel, click on that blue stream, y'all link. Like I said, I know for me, I look back and it wasn't until the anger management and it was able to allow me to tap into another side of me that was compressed, that was programmed to never let this side come out, because people would look at me as being soft. People would look at me as being weak. But that's the side that freed me. That side, like before, I didn't do none of this laughing. And you know how cool and calm and how all the stuff that I'd laugh at, I wasn't there at one time in my life.
Shake, he grew up the same way. He grew up the same way. He's presently, like at this moment, and I'll get more into that later, he's currently writing a book. He already wrote a book. He's edited once, and he's currently doing a movie. Sharing his life story of things he went through. And that wasn't just the only thing, because now we got to think about, why was our children or, our child or even children being put in these particular situations where they was even around women that could be in a kid's party? Why are you in a kid's party touching on little kids? Why you're so close to, and then that kind of atmosphere where you have that type of access to children, boys and girls. He is so protective of my daughter, and we are both protective that way. And we raised another one together, and we're the same way with her. And those things never, and I noticed it never changed him. He gets dressed in the bathroom. And not to be telling personal business, but those are things that you need to look at, because obviously it had to affect him some kind of way where he knows now that ain't cool. Like, you know what I mean? Being around young, there ain't none of that shit cool.
That's real. That's
He was
real.
a young boy that thought that, okay, grown women want me. And that wasn't even the only one. That was not the only one. When he was a teenager, he was in a relationship with, well, a sexual relationship with somebody who was in their 30s.
Yeah.
A teacher. A teacher.
Yeah.
So one day we might be on here shaking the subject come up again, and he may feel like, you know what I mean? He could tell you the stories. He could
Well,
tell you the stories. I'm
yeah,
sure the people would love to hear because this is real life.
he's always welcome. He's always welcome. Anybody that have a story, you all are welcome to join me on my panel and speak your
Yeah, we're
piece.
trying to change lives over here. I
Yeah,
tell him that all the time.
yeah.
I'll be watching some little ratchet stuff, so he don't be like, he be like, I don't know what you about be on when you get on YouTube. But Shake Rock and Miss Parker, they good over here. Man,
Yeah,
I be
yeah,
having to tell him like
yeah,
these are good ones. I
yeah,
watch my little ratchet stuff. It's
yeah,
okay. You ain't getting on
yeah,
that panel, but this one
yeah.
is safe. But thank you, Shank, for allowing me to come on and speak up. And I had to do that because, you know, look, this Jarvis thing, man. And I'm sure a lot of people want to come on and say something, especially Mel and Mama Cleve. Like, let me let them go on right now. But thank you again, Jake. I
I
appreciate it, brother.
appreciate you, Nick. Come on and slide in, Freshie.
I was really, Nikki was like on the one. I was really intrigued with her story. And, I was sitting up here and I was just looking back at, I grew up with uncles, a bunch of uncles, and then my dad and my little brother and stuff, and it was not, we didn't see the men, as a girl, I didn't see the men in their underwear. I didn't see the men shirtless. You know, Daddy would not dare. Now with my brother, he was a football player, athlete, and stuff. And they would be hanging outside trying to show their muscles and stuff. But it was Daddy would didn't like him doing that. It was disrespectful. But then I was gonna say, with your stanky ass, I'm glad I got to get up here. I didn't say funky. I didn't say funky. I said stanky. Okay. And
Y'all
I
gonna leave me alone.
and I'm not throwing up tacos. I'm throwing up burritos. How you like
Y'all,
that?
y'all got Tony King to thank for y'all being on punishment. She gonna holler Shank. That's why you was giving the halfway house girls hot dogs with white bread. Yeah, all right, Tony King.
But one point I was thinking about how when we were growing up, the young guys that were hitting the older women, it was like bragging rights to them. They were, they didn't look at it as them being abused. It's like bragging rights. And then some of them, they, like with Nikki, they didn't turn into pedophiles or nothing like that. But then you had those that felt the neglect and the abuse side of it, and then they usually turned into either being homosexual and or abusers of children, and then giving, and then they want, and then like I was thinking how it may they wanted the men or the women wanted to have that feeling as adults that made them superior, where the girl or where the child could go and have those same bragging rights, and like that makes them the big person on the block, that feeling their low moral standards, making them wanting to feel that, give somebody else that same feeling. And then, bringing up the same thing about getting to hear that they're pleasing the woman or the child because they're insufficient with an adult woman or male, and those other things. Now, something else I was Oh, within my mother's father's family, that side of the family, and then her stepmother's family, it was commonplace that the girls were. I had one uncle that my mom had six brothers and six sisters by with her father's kids, and it was one brother that turned out all the girls in the family, and then it was an endless cycle where the children that one of my aunts had was being turned out by one of my other aunt's husband. And my aunt who had the kids, had the girls, she knew about it but didn't say nothing about it, thought it was all right because of the way she came up and because this man was helping to support her household. So when my other aunt's daughter at 5 years old came up with gonorrhea, I'm here investigator for the state. And, of course, they call me. I'm turning stuff in and then still trying not to go hurt this man myself, you know. But then the rest of the family got angry with me and my mother because we did what we did. We turned the report in. And so, just the mentality of it. And then one aunt is the uncle's baby, the mama's uncle. And, it was a lot of that in the family, where one aunt, her uncle was her daddy, and then one, just a mess, it was just a mess in that family where that was what happened. It was commonplace. It was the norm. But like me, I think I was the only niece that they didn't mess with. And my mama said, that's because you tell it. You told everything you saw, you
Mm.
know. And that's the way I was brought up. That ain't right. We ain't having this here, you know. And then the other thing I was going to say, um, I was thinking back in the old days. It's kind of different from what we're dealing with in this matter, but in the same sense of mind. Back in the day, men married 13-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls. Look back to The Color Purple
Mhm.
and Miss Seeley. And then I was watching one of my favorite movies, The Coal Miner's Daughter. And uh, Loretta Lynn, I think, was 13 or 14 years old when she married this older guy. And so that was coming back during that old time where the girls got married at 13 and 14. It was not considered taboo. It was considered the norm. After a certain age, after you became a woman once you hit your menstrual. And so at that age, you old enough, you didn't help raise the younger children and stuff. So you can be married off now so that you don't have to be taken care of no more. And like with Miss Seeley, she was trading in for a cow. And that was reality in a sense, and just not in our culture, but in all cultures. That was the reality. And even still, like I know in Mexico, that is uh, commonplace. In Africa, commonplace. So it's just a whole matter of being the norm, and then on the other side being an illness, being a sickness, being a pedophile or being low self-esteem, thinking that you're really high on the level of women, and he can have more control over these younger girls than he can over an adult woman. Or when I say he, I mean he, she, can be more control over the younger ones than they feel insufficient to the older ones. Okay, I done all my talking. I'm through. Oh, one other thing real quick, Chad, I'm sorry. This is going all the way off. I hadn't gotten in touch with you, Shank, because I was telling you that I have an autoimmune disease, which was once referred to as the black woman's disease. Bernie Mac died from it. Mahalia Jackson died from it. Reggie White died from it. And it's an autoimmune disease called sarcoidosis. And it's an multi-system uh, inflammatory disease. Well, I was just going to suggest that if anyone has an autoimmune disease, I suggest that you go and you see a neurologist and get tested by a neurologist, because I had just straight sarcoidosis for, they figure I might have had it since I was 14, but nobody in this area knew about the disease. And I was diagnosed 32 years ago with it. And I was going in and out of remission with it. So I dealt with it longer. I had a lot of friends that died after a year, after 4 years, after 5 years. But like I was saying, so I came out of remission after the 2 years of stress that I was under. I came out of remission and I was really struggling going back into remission. Well, I went to go see a neurologist. And by going to see the neurologist and having the tests that I have, now I have, on top of sarcoidosis, I have neurosarcoidosis. And under the realm of the neurosarcoidosis, it looks like my life is, I mean, I'm dealing with a whole bunch more stuff. And I'm glad I caught it early enough so that I can go through the treatments, and prayerfully they'll help to stop some of the stuff. But I do encourage anybody who has an autoimmune disease, please go see a neurologist so that they can run the test, the realm and the scheme of the test. Go to a neurologist that's familiar with autoimmune diseases, because the stuff that I'm going through now is unbelievable. And but thank God I have the support of a family. I have a new grandbaby to live for. And so I just wanted to make that public service announcement. Okay, y'all, I'm through. I'm gonna log off because
Praying
I'll
for
probably
you.
fall back
I'm
asleep.
so much praying for you. You just touched my heart, and it's so sad. But you know what? You continue to be strong, because you remind me a lot of my grandmother, and your voice and the way you speak. You just keep your head up. You keep one foot above water, one head above water, one foot in front of the other, and you continue to move, and you stay in faith.
Yes, ma'am.
And you
Thank you.
got a whole family, a team of people over here that will constantly pray for you, always.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
send you my prayers as well, because I have a brother that passed away. I had a brother that passed away from MAC disease in 2017. And I have a sister in law that has MAC disease. She's had it for over 20 years now. And with my brother's, his was more respiratory. And
Yeah.
with my sister in law, hers is more neurological.
Uh huh. And see, that's what they did. It was found in me through my respiratory system, but then I didn't have no more problems with my respiratory system, and I just started again with having the respiratory problems with the new diagnoses that I've been having and stuff. So I guess I won't be smoking no more. That's for sure. But yeah, thank you for sharing that with me, and thank you for the encouragement, because I'm gonna tell you, it gets really lonely, and people look at you and say, "Oh, you fine, ain't nothing wrong with you," but they don't see the pain. And I'm taking care of my 82-year-old mother. My dad, she was with my daddy since she was 15 years old. He died at 81. So it's hard for me not to take care of my mother, because it's just me, my mother, and my child left here, and my child just got married and had his own child, so it's mainly me taking care of mama, cooking and cleaning and all of this stuff. And then I don't sleep. Like, I woke up at 2 o'clock yesterday morning. I ain't had no sleep yet. And so it's just, I fall asleep and the pain happens, the muscle spasms happen, the everything. So I tell people, please, black folks, it's stuff that we have that nobody's telling us about, nobody's doing research on, and nobody's finding other treatments for it. And thank God I have an African neurologist that said, we running all these tests. And he knew what to look for, and he knew what meds to put me on. And so, but I walk by faith and not by sight. And I tell you, when I put that first foot out, I'm like, Lord, let that other foot come up next to the next one. But thank you for all of those people who do have faith, who do believe in Christ, and who will send me nothing but the positive prayers. If you can't be earnest with God and pray for me, just just don't. You can't ask everybody to pray for you. But thank you for those that are looking out. And Shank, I got you, babe.
Appreciate you. And I too have an autoimmune disease. I have lupus, so I'm aware of it all. I have flare-ups. The lupus, it attacks my organs. I'm in so much pain. I've been in so much pain. And I've been dealing with the lupus for the last 4.5 years. So I am definitely familiar with an autoimmune disease. Let me read Sheila B's. I'm
Go
sorry.
to, I'm sorry, go to
Let,
a
let,
neurologist, Shank.
okay. I gotta take Sheila B comment because she's a survivor as well. Hey Shank, I swear I could tell you the same truth about my sick ass SOs, two of the monsters that my head up at 8 and my disease of addiction started at 8. I had become a passive little girl, etc. She goes on to say, I was all over the place because I was searching for love, and I too didn't know that I was doing bad things when I was younger, but because I couldn't decipher what was wrong or what was love. I'm going to drop the link for you, Sheila. If you would like to come on a panel with us, feel free to come on a panel. She says, I was doing little freaky-ish because one, I didn't know how to tell what was happening to me. So I was very confused and promiscuous at a young age until I realized that it wasn't right. Once again, Sheila, I'm going to be dropping the link, and please feel free to join us on the panel. And if you would like to tell us more, please feel free to come on. She says, when I became a mother, I was so protective of my little baby girl who is now 30. However, I see her searching for love in all the wrong places, and it just kills my mental because I had to coach my baby. She also says, I see you, Miss Parker. Salute, Miss Parker. What else do she say? Once again, I'm so sorry that you had to experience it, Sheila. She says, I had to coach my baby through her first heartbreak. I felt myself begging the little guy not to hurt my baby like she was hurting. I begged him to just talk to her because she didn't understand it. Once again, Sheila, I will drop the link. Mel, slide in, Mel.
And while we're waiting for Mel, Sheila, I was just going to ask if you had children and how it was with your children. Because, like my 5-year-old cousin, even now, she has a little boy and he's 7 now. And just out of control because she spoils him and keeps him up under her with this fear. But her relationships are just so damning. And I have tried to work with her, but it's like she's just too far gone now. And trying to reach out and pull her in. She's not strung out. She don't mess with the drugs no more. But she just doesn't understand relationships and how she should be treated by a man. So thank you, Sheila, for sharing that. Okay, I'm down.
Okay, Shank. I'm going to share just a little um, information about the pedophile, but um, they also derive from incest because it is a disorder, and so stuff is kind of like neurological, to be honest with you. And who to think that incest? Because I do know that sometimes, they always say, well, back in the day, they would say that children that were, born with certain birth defects were children from incest. And so pedophiles are sometimes children that were born through incest. And so with that neurological disorder that they have, they become um, you know, sexually attracted to children as they get older. And, they kind of tied it all to, like the Catholic churches, but then they, kind of included everybody, to be honest with you. And as I was reading through some of the information, I kind of broke down the kind of pedophile that Jarvis is, because they have what they call an exclusive pedophile, which basically just want to be with children. And then you have the non-exclusive, who be with young girls and women as well. It doesn't really talk about whether or not they have any kind of other kind of sexual dysfunctions or anything, but one of the primary derivatives that causes that psychiatric disorder is normally children that are born from incest. And I say this to say this, and not giving a pass on anything. Well, maybe I'll say that for another comment. But I just remember the defense attorney asking Jarvis' sister, were there extenuating circumstances that happened stemmed around your grandmother's death? And she very rudely said no. And I'm just going to leave that for the mind to kind of break down what that means. But and then they just go on to tell like how they pick their victims, and usually they're children that are in need of something else. And we all knew that NAZIYAH was in need of love and attention, so she was very easy for Jarvis to groom because she needed love and attention. So she was a very easy target for him. And I'm quite sure that that was the case with him in probably his other instances as well, is because he normally, when he dates, or marries or dates, those women already have children, girl children. And so basically, just being, I think, really being with the woman and seeing what kind of mom she is pretty much would let, kind of with anybody, the kind of mom you are, they let you know if you have access to their kids. And it's apparent that Jarvis had access to Shannon kids, Marquita kids. You know what I mean?
That's facts.
Because they weren't good mothers. They were more interested in the man, because the man from what I understand, that pedophiles do present themselves as good providers. Remember the one girlfriend that says he was a great provider? That was who was that? The girl with the t-shirt with the glasses on, I think, or was it the fiance? One of them said he was a great provider. And so with all of those traits and all of the women that he dealt with, they were all attracted to the traits of the pedophile. And I remember saying one time, and I remember saying, all these people are kinfolk. It's like they all seem like kinfolk, like they kinfolk, but they're not kinfolk. So it seems like they may have, and it could have something to do a lot with the CPS system. Like they came out of a system of just these type of things. And so that made them kinfolk, but not family, just kinfolk. So reading, I didn't really have a really lot to say about this, but I really wanted to read on this because a pedophile is different from a SA offender.
Right.
Two different
Mel,
people. Yeah.
let me let Sheila slide in so she could walk us through her tragedy.
Okay, I know. I'm done.
Come on
I'm
in.
done.
Okay. Come on in, Sheila.
Hey, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, you
Yes,
sound
we
good.
can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Sheila.
When I first picked up on this case with NAZIYAH Harris, it hurt my heart. It broke me down because I could only imagine how much younger this little girl was when it really started. It didn't start at 12 with her. It didn't start at 10. It started way before that. And I guess picked that up looking at the story and how the monsters that that little girl was subjected to, and they all knew, you know these brothers that were doing what they were doing to me. Sometimes I wonder if both of them even knew, or they both were monsters. So it made me wonder if they knew. But every time I would have to go to that house, I knew what to expect. I was so scared to tell until I started damaging myself. I started picking up cigarette butts out the ashtray to take the taste out my mouth, picking up um, weed butts out the ashtray at the age of 8, just to take my mind and that taste away from me, my senses. At 8, I not only was smoking, I had started sneaking and drinking, and by 14 I was an alcoholic. By 16 I was a heroin addict, and I was a heroin addict all the way up until 1996, when I had my second child. Now, when my first baby was born, I had quit, and I was focused with her because I felt like, oh my goodness, now I have a daughter, you know? And I can't let nobody hurt my baby. I will kill a brick about that little girl, even today, and she's 30. However, I see her going down that same road. She has never been touched, but she doesn't know how to give herself that time or chance to find real love. It's like she just can't be alone, you know? And so when I had my second child, it was a boy. And lo and behold, to this very day, my son is an addict now. And he's 28. And this meth has him out there doing all kinds of crazy shit. And I sometimes wonder, did I pass that down to my kids? I have 2 others that don't indulge. Well, they smoke weed, and yeah, they may drink a little bit. But my first 2, I feel like they caught the disease from me. And now they're going through the same channels in life that I was going through. Now my son's in prison. I have been there before. I've been to state prison and federal prison, and it all had to do with a lot with drugs and doing shit to other people that I felt like deserved to be hurt at that time because I was hurt, and like they say, hurt people hurt people. And that's where I see Jarvis at. He's a true evil spawn. However, he too suffered that hurt. And he, in turn, I believe in my heart that he hurt people because it made him feel good. It made him feel like he was in charge, you know? He had the, how can I word it? He was in charge. And that's what he wanted, to know that he was the one in charge. You know, that family of that baby, man, I swear to God, they need to burn in hell. Because when I heard about this baby story, I saw myself all over again. I'm like, oh my God. But I thank God I lived to talk about it, to tell my story. You know, I used to be so ashamed and embarrassed, and I hid myself, my true self from people. I started being who people wanted me to be, you know, and by God's grace, I came out of it. Um, when people look at single women, they tend to think that it must be something wrong with her, or she can't get a man, or even the woman may think she's not enough or beautiful, and all those other bad thoughts. But a single woman that I have been for now 11 years have made me the strongest woman, I believe, who walks this earth. I know my worth. I don't shortchange myself, and I don't let nobody do it to me. I have grandchildren now, and I be damned if while I'm living, any of these things happen to them. Like I always say, I'll kill a brick about mine because I know the feeling and I know the story all too well. Yeah, it's a sad thing, and it's sad how we all have to come up here, and it makes us realize the demons that were attacking us, and now her story has made a lot of other people come, forward with their stories, you know. Um, but God bless you, Shank, and Miss Parker, and Toot, and Coke. What's her name? Coco or Cold Piece. All
Cold
of y'all.
TV.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
every one of y'all that covered this story, God put y'all in order to do what y'all doing, and I thank you so much.
But one thing I want to say to you is Miss Sheila Bryant, or the brilliant Miss Sheila Bryant, I want to thank you for your confidence. I want to thank you for your transparency. I want to thank you for sharing your story with others who may not feel comfortable enough to share theirs. It's not easy to talk about what's happening on.
Grandma.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah, you straight, Nick. Y'all straight. I can
Oh,
hear
okay.
y'all.
Okay, I just want to thank her because that story alone, it just brings so many other things, and I'm sure so many other lives and bits and pieces of things. If it's going to, now you're going to have to make a whole new show, Shank. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm saying,
open it up for your people,
Yeah,
because
y'all know what I'm going to do, and I've been saying I'm gonna do it, but I gotta do it, and it's gonna start this Sunday. I'm going to, and I need everybody's help. I'm going to start this program that I keep talking about. I'm gonna start it on Sunday, and we're gonna start it this Sunday, where everybody is able. We ain't gonna talk about none of the stories, the cases that are out there. We're going to talk about our stories, and we're going to heal, and it's going to be an open panel. It's going to start this Sunday.
amen.
sounds so brilliant. It sounds so brilliant. And Michelle,
Yes.
I'm so sorry that you had to go through everything that you had to go through, but I thank you for being a light to others. I thank you for paying attention. I'm so thankful and grateful for your survival. I'm so thankful for the relationship that you have with your children, because it is some mothers that have been through so many things and they just choose to just stay in their box. And
Yeah.
believe me, I don't now. I know Shank doing what he doing, and I know how Miss Parker roll. I want to save my
And
story for those moments because I mentioned something about my husband and what he went through because based on the subject. But oh my God, do I have a book? I have a whole
Mm.
entire book, a
mm,
book.
mm,
You know what I mean?
yes,
A book.
yes, I've been told that as well. And you know, I've yet to get to that point of writing my story, but
No,
I know it.
no,
I know it.
no. I don't have a book. My husband actually has a book. What I'm saying is, I have a book of things that I've
Oh,
experienced.
oh, oh,
Yes,
yes.
that
I'm
I
just.
just keep to myself, and
Hmm.
I don't mind sharing. I've been through certain things. I just give you a piece of thing. You've been in jail. I've been in jail too. People look at my face and they would never believe it. Like, oh my God, no. Yes,
That's what I'm saying.
yes, yes, yes. I have. Yes, I
The
have.
woman
I've
that
been
I
through a
am
lot of
today.
experiences.
Yeah. And the woman that I am today, people would never. And when I have told others my story, and they just look at me and they can't believe it, because of what my past, made way, with my future today, with
Yes,
my present,
yes,
and so you look at me, you'll never see it.
exactly. And
Yeah,
you got me with tears coming out my eyes right now because I'm just so thankful for the blessings that came into my life. Just to give like a sneak preview, I woke up in a bed next to a person that literally committed suicide from a DV the very
mm,
next day, and it could took me and my whole house out with them. Me and my youngest daughter, well, my oldest daughter right now, and she's what 24, just had a new baby. I have a new grandchild that I never even shared on because we haven't had an opportunity to really talk about our personal lives and stuff. I try to stick to the subject, and I'm
but
so thankful. My first granddaughter, and she's here
mhm,
with me, and I'm thankful. But it could have been a moment where we would have been taken out, based on
but
what
God,
actually happened.
and you have to
So it's
think, but
crazy.
God, yeah,
Yes, God is amazing. God is so amazing. I
hmm,
graduated from college. I've been through a lot. I've been through a
yeah.
lot. And I'm thankful for every step in my life today. And I'm grateful. Even if I'm not where I want to be at this moment, I thank God for just allowing me to be in the midst of others.
Well, Shank, I thank you as well for even letting us know parts of your story, because when
Yes,
you started sharing yours, that made me get that courage to come here, to want to do what I just did. I
I'm glad
wouldn't
that
have.
I was able. I'm glad that I was able. Cause
Yes.
see, like I was saying,
Well,
see, this what anger management did for me. And see, when I first went, I was young. I was still wilding. So, I'm in there and because for us, we wasn't taught to open up. So I'm in there, I'm arms folded. I got that slick look. I'm looking like this. I'm like, man, it's just, I'm all rude. How much longer we gonna be, man? I got to leave. You know what I mean? And people was looking at me like, you know what I mean? And then, the program director, he was like, you're here for a reason. You're here for the same reason that everybody else is here. He said, now I don't know your backstory. He said, but you might as well take this time that you're here to just be a part of what we got going on. So, I'm like, you know what I mean? So the first thing that he said, 5 seconds, just take 5 seconds to think before you react to any situation. Once he said that, I was hooked. I said, damn. Because I was always quick to go off the hinges.
mm,
So I'm listening to everybody else's story and I'm seeing how happy they are. I'm seeing how I'm looking at the smiles on their face. on their face, you know, and I'm looking at me and I'm feeling me and I'm like, damn. So, and I started opening up, and me opening up all that dirty laundry, all that baggage, all that
Ooh-wee.
hate, all that negativity that I had that was holding me down and wasn't allowing me to make progress. I just started shaking it. I started smiling more. I started laughing. I started talking. I started opening up.
Come
I got
on.
diagnosed, and then I'm gonna let y'all slide in. I got diagnosed in 2001 with lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's, right? John Hopkins in Baltimore, Maryland. They gave me 6 months to live. They said the cancer is advanced. They gave me 6 months to live in 2001.
That
I
is so
opened
scary.
up. I was in the bookstore and I opened up my mouth. If I didn't open up my mouth and tell this sister what I was going through, I probably wouldn't be here now. But when I told the sister what I was going through, she said, "Don't worry, brother." And that was 2001. I was 29. I was young. And she said, "Don't worry about it, brother. You're going to be all right." She was like, "I'm going to hook you up with a holistic doctor." You know what I mean? So when I go see the holistic doctor, I'm just, you know, wanting him to just, can you get me 2 years, 3 years? You know what I mean? Because I got a lot of, you know, he was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You're going to outbeat this." Now, this was 2001. I was always taught that nobody beats cancer.
Mm.
So in my mind, I'm like, well, the hospital, John Hopkins, they gave me 6 months. So for surely I'm going, you know, get up out of here. I had lost a daughter to cancer in 97. I lost my
Oh,
father.
I'm so sorry.
I lost
Yeah.
my father to cancer in 81. To make a long story short, that was 2001 that I was diagnosed, and they give me 6 months. We 2025. But had I not went to anger management and learned how to communicate, learn how to express my feelings, learn how to talk about what is troubling me, I wouldn't have never opened up to that sister at that bookstore, and that sister wouldn't have never directed me to that holistic doctor.
Come on.
And you know, Shay, that's deep because I have like, you know, I had a person in my life in a moment when I was going through my experiences. I'll probably wait till we get together because there's so many layers to my story. But I met a woman who had cancer. She also had HIV at the time, and she was trying to like, you know, get away from her husband who was abusing her, and she went and she became a counselor to others. I just put it like that. And she went the holistic way, and it just didn't work out for her. And you know, and so I just applaud, you know, your strength to, you know, just trust in
Man.
the Lord and be able to just feel like that way will work out for you, because it's so scary with that. You know, not everybody make it on that holistic, you know, term. And I don't know as far as, because I don't be asking like, okay, so what did you, and I'm very acquisitive person. But you know, when it comes to stuff like that, it's real touchy with me, especially when it's somebody I care about. So I don't be want to ask no questions. I just be want to hope that it's just gonna work out. Cause it's like
You-
I'm scared. I don't want to lose nobody else that I'm close to. You know what I mean?
yes. You know, I'm going to say this. Even in anger management, NAAA, they tell you you are as sick as your secrets.
Yeah.
That's
And them
deep.
secrets can put you in your grave,
Yeah.
you know, because they wear you out from the inside out, you know. And so, Shane, you did a hell of a thing. You stepped up, you took charge in your life, and you let something work for you. Somebody, God, I know had to take front and center, you know, stage in that. However, when that man gave you that pill, take 5 seconds or 5 minutes to think
Five
about
seconds.
5 seconds, and you thought about it and you did it, you know. and everything that I can probably imagine, that when people in that group were talking and telling their stories, and you probably felt like, because I felt at the time, I'm not telling these people
Right,
my life story.
right,
Not
right.
finna put myself out there so they can talk about me when it's all over, you know. And then I got that courage. God pushed that button and said, "Look, you asked me in prayer for help, and I'm sending it to you. You got to get on board." You know, it was like that man that drowned when God sent him
Mm,
all the help that he needed to keep from drowning.
yeah.
He wouldn't take it.
Ain't that something? Let,
Mm-hmm.
let me let my longtime Rock Squad member, Uncle Charles, bless the panel. He always drops some jewels. Slide in, Uncle Charles. It's been a long time.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
Uncle
What's up,
Charles.
y'all? How y'all doing?
Wonderful today. How
Well,
about
that's
you?
good. That's a blessing. And I want to tell y'all, no matter what you're going through, see, when you go through things, that's life. You take something that you can't handle, and then you lay it before the Lord. That's what you do. And you see, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
some black folks, we every time you all you gotta do is say one prayer. But sometimes some black people pray, keep on asking God for the same thing 150 times. If you don't think God can hear, I know
Uh,
one thing. I tell you what. One thing. I tell you what. He tired of listening to you. Say what you got to say and move forward. He's supposed to take care of that heavy laden for you. I go in my prayer room and I write it down and I put it down there and I let the Lord handle that. And I go on about my business.
man.
It makes no difference what you're going through. I was homeless, and you will find out who is your friend when you homeless. Some of
Oh,
your family members will overlook you. Some people will help you, don't even know these people, and them be the ones that help you. I've been through it. See, be in that parking lot. Be in that parking lot when you the man and you got to eat food in a parking lot where a store is, because you know you ain't got nowhere to sleep. Be in that predicament. Yeah. I believe God carried me through that. He had to. Wasn't nobody else doing it. You know what everybody else was doing? Drinking tea and in their warm bed. They weren't caring about it then, but they sure caring about it now. But you know what? I tell you this: when one of my family members gets sick, I don't hold no gruff heart. I go over there and see them. If a friend gets sick, I've been known for 20 years, I go see them. I don't hold that in my heart because they made a decision not to help me. That was their decision. I can't be mad at them. And another thing too, though, they got this thing out now. Well, now they got it on TikTok now, where they kicking your door in. Now, what demon don't woke up and start doing this? I can't understand. They kicking your door in. I'm gonna say this. I have to say it. It would not be wise if you kick my door in, because I'm gonna tell you something. I stay up all night. I love staying up because that's when stuff go down, and that I got a family to protect. And you kick this door in, to be the last door you will kick in. I guarantee you that. I tell people all the time, you got to listen. You can either hang around people that's focused and got their mind on the Lord, or you can hang around people that got some evil in their mind. I always tell guys, if you go in a house where everybody still expect your stuff to get stolen, then why? Because everybody in there steal it. It is what it's called what house you go in. And I try to tell these parents sometimes, I said, let me tell you something. I have heard and watched a young lady cuss her mama out in the store. And you mean tell me your brains ain't on the other side of the street? I don't get it. I don't get it. I tell my daughter all the time, she be making bad decisions. I said, I'm telling you, I said, I don't know what you're doing. I said, but I'm going to tell you something. You know I ain't going to put up with it. Oh, I'm grown. Yeah, I know you're grown. But you could be grown and stupid too. Let me tell you something, but you won't come around me with it. And I'm going to tell you that right now. Your trouble is your trouble, not mine. I'll tell you that. You got one lady, my uncle had his best friend of his. And, they ran the street at night. Ran the street, run the street. He don't got in some trouble. She had to pull up collateral. She had to pull up a house, 2 cars. And just before he go to court, he don't violate it again. So they took the house. And the way they did it, it had to be genius because she was watching The Price is Right. And they kicked that door in and picked her up on that couch and set her ass in the front yard. This is how it works. Sometimes you have to let these children fall on themselves. You have to let them, you'll be dead and gone, and they'll be still doing the same thing. So I tell you something, and I ain't gonna tell you twice. It is what it is. And another thing too, why are you sitting at home when you're 19, 20 years old? And then I got to get in an argument with you? Oh, no, you don't. Now, two things you're going to do. You're going to go to school and you're going to work. If you don't like what I'm selling, if you don't like what I'm doing, go on out there with the rest of the wolves. Because I'm telling you something, they waiting on you. I guarantee you that.
Oh, no.
Your son in and out of jail, your son in and out of jail, breaking in folks' houses. And I heard some lady say, you need to do something with your child. My child ain't bad. Your child is a demon. Every time he get up out the bed, he start glowing. Now, I don't know no children that glow because he's a demon. I know that. Sometimes you have to be that parent, and sometimes you have to let these children bump their own head because they will bury you. You are down on Monday, and they will bury you on Saturday, and they going on with their life. And if you feel like you want to be a parent, you want to you got a husband or wife, or however you kicking it, y'all take a trip. Don't worry about what these children doing because they're gonna do what they want to do anyway. I don't told people that, and you sitting up there worrying about her. One lady up there, security guard up there, that dog check up there. Do you know she's still suffering from her daughter getting killed? She out there, she told her daughter he ain't no good. And also he don't got her on Xanax bars. He don't got her on this and that. And they went to the restaurant right now. They always fighting. And this time they got to fight in the restaurant. She runs out the door and a car come across there. She ran out the road and the car knocked up in there. And that was 20 years ago. This lady is still suffering from grief. She saw him in the store. The man that's supposed to be loved her daughter saw him in the store. And he ain't said one thing to her. And knowing that this woman lost her child, he ain't said a word to her. He don't got married and got 3 children. See, life goes on whether you on top of it or whether you're under it. It's going to keep on rolling. It is what it is. I said this and I said this not. I tell y'all, if once you hang around people that's no good, you will become no good. And another doggone thing, and I keep telling people, listen, if the doctor put you on some medicine, take your medicine. Okay, see, I wish my uncle would have did that. And me and my auntie went out there and we come there and he running around the table with a butcher knife with no clothes on. It said somebody's trying to kill him. Yeah, it's you trying to kill you. Did you take your medicine? Oh no, I ain't taking it. That's what the doctor gave it to you for, uncle. You gotta take you just keep me walking out here in the middle of the night naked. We gotta go up on 2nd Street and we better take a blanket with us when we show hell no, you ain't gonna have no clothes on. So we'll take that blanket up there, we'll bring him back a couple of times. But you gotta take your medicine. Don't let nobody he crazy. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Sometimes people get stressed and they suffer with depression, and sometimes you can suffer with some and you don't even know. Sometimes you can have a bad heart and don't even know. Sometimes you can go to bed at night. Some people tonight will go to bed tonight and won't wake up tomorrow.
All right, but Mr. Uncle Charles, all good medicine ain't good medicine. Now, you gotta take a look at that. You know what I mean? Sometimes them doctors, you already know what they're in it for. You already know what the pharmaceuticals is going against with the whole entire world about now when it comes to that money thing and them lawsuits and stuff. All that medicine ain't good medicine. And that's why, some people that decide to go into the holistics and, doing things that fruits and things that's good for our body as far as that comes from nature.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it, but I'm just saying, you see more things being talked about that now as if taking prescriptions and stuff, especially where somebody's life is on the line. They take a look at everything along the board, all around the table. They have to, because it's I just can't just move on what the doctors are telling me and to take this prescription pill. I'm gonna give you an example. When I moved over here to where I'm living at now, I had high, and didn't mean to cut you off. I truly apologize.
It's okay.
And I was I left a job from over 14 years of being a teacher, and I came over to this area and I wasn't working. I was just being a home wife. It didn't sit well with me. and I kind of wasn't okay inside. And you know what I mean? I'm used to busting the beat of my own drum, getting out, you know what I mean? Making money, being a supporter of the household, as well as my husband being a supporter. But being over here didn't, it led me to depression. It led me to anxiety. It led me to YouTube, which I'm grateful for. I'm not going to lie about that because I'm doing a whole lot better than I was doing before. You know what I mean? And I was always a go-getter. But they prescribed me these pills for anxiety, and I never had anxiety in my life. And it was like I took about one of them. That shit just took out it didn't take the wind out of my body, but it just made me feel so blank. It made me feel like it just was weird. Like I'm like, hell no, I'm not taking the pills.
Well, that's the right decision. All medicine is not good for all people, and
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, you have to when you putting something in your body, no matter what the doctor prescribes for you, you have to do your own homework too. So wait a minute, let me see what's in him before I start taking it. And yeah, I always say it's gonna be a lot of doctors and a lot of pharmaceutical people in hell with prosecutors and defense attorneys. All of them will be there. All of them be there because we know what you're doing it for. You know your client is guilty, but you're gonna protect him anyway. And you know he killed that woman, and you don't even care as long as he's paying you that money. See, a lot of people, it's only going to be a special class of people in heaven anyway. That's just the way it is. There's going to be a whole lot of folks in hell too. It's just the way it is. I'll say this tonight, and I'm gonna get on out of here.
Before you go, Uncle Charles, don't hang up.
Yeah, not yet.
You got to say.
I didn't hear you.
I'll talk.
Okay.
I'm waiting on you.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say this in closing. I have learned a lot from Shank. This is one of the real shows you can come to where you can lay your problems on the table and somebody will help you. And they'll be in general from their heart and help you. But let me mind this. Let me let you mind this. I'm a father first. I'm also a first-time grandfather. I believe in children being children. The head of the household is the man and the female that's in the house. The children cannot take over the house.
That's right.
The inmates can't take over the prison. Because if they do, that's when you get chaos. I tell everybody all the time, if you stand there and your daughter tell you, Mom, this guy you got standing here, he touched me. And you said, I see what the lady told her daughter. He touched you. Well, what did you do? What you mean? What did she do? You're supposed to be going in there. You're supposed to go put a hole in his head for doing that. No man should be in your house over your children and you're not married to him. No man. No man. And this is how these monsters get in your house. I don't care what y'all doing in that room in there. Maybe you need to stop it for one of you have a damn heart attack. That's what you need to stop doing. But always keep an eye on your kids. Always keep an eye on your children. I don't care how grown they get. Be that parent. Don't ever be that parent until you leave this world.
Amen.
And that's all I
got. And Mr. Charles, don't you think there's so many stories out here for people, even if they didn't know, even if they did make mistakes, because some people may have made mistakes. See, me, I was grateful enough that I had a man that when I met my husband, that is now my husband, I was with him for 7 years before I married him. And I married him once we had our second daughter. Well, we married each other. And then we've been together ever since then, about now 15 years. And I'm so grateful for that because I've been through experiences when I was a lot younger. I met him when I was in my 20s. He was in his 20s. And we've been together since then. And I'm so happy for that because I feel like, life ain't always peaches and cream when it comes to marriage. Marriage is difficult. Marriage is work.
Oh, yeah.
A long-term relationship is work. But as long as you know that you got somebody that's good, and I said my biggest flex is, at one point in my life is make sure that I had a man in my life that ain't looking at my fucking kids. My daughter, weird. Amen. I'm telling you, because that's how sick it is. And this before the Jarvis story came, because it was many stories before Jarvis story. So many stories before Jarvis' story. My biggest flex was making sure that I had somebody that I could trust around my daughter, my young daughter.
Yeah.
And then I had a daughter with him. And now we have two. And now my granddaughter is now what? Just a little bit under 2 weeks old. And she gets to be here with us together. So now we all together again. Because my daughter, she went out. She had her own apartment. She just came back home to her mom when she knew that, she was having a baby, because she's just like, I can't do it by myself. And she knows what type of mom I am.
Yes.
You're right.
So, yeah.
You
I
100% right.
say
I just want women. I want women today. A woman's supposed to carry a standard.
Yes.
You're not going to be in my house and I'm at work and you buck naked in the bed playing Call of Duty, and I come back, at least you can clean the damn house. At least you can do that.
Oh my God, that's a whole nother story. Because these kids are spoiled. They spoil you. Let's be honest. They be spoiled.
And you clean the house, at least you can do that. But no, here it is. You ain't putting that on the table. You ain't paying on no bills. All the food is gone. And he looking at you. No, you need to get him out the house because you're supposed to be carrying a standard. If you're his woman, he's supposed to help you. If the tires ain't, don't worry about that. I got that. What's wrong with them tires? The ball head, okay, I'll take it on up there and get it replaced. See, this is a real woman loves a man that tries. You have to have a standard. You can't match yourself. How can you be equally yoked when he don't care? And he don't care. He don't care about no God, no nothing. How can you be equally yoked to him and he don't do that? That's why I try to tell him. I tell most women, I said, listen, you got a standard. You're supposed to expect him to be a man and step in there when times get rough and he to saddle up and be that man for you. Because let me tell you something. A lot of houses, we don't know what people are doing in their houses. Some houses is out of control. We got incest going on. We got all this mess going on. Somebody got to have some damn sense here. I'm going to say this and I'm going to get on out of here because I got to go to work in the morning. Let me say this. This woman, I don't know if y'all go back and check it out on YouTube. Farrah Fawcett, she was a model. See, she played in this movie called The Burning Bed. You remember that? He couldn't keep his hand.
That movie. I seen the movie.
That's right. He slapped her. They was at a
I'm a DV survivor. I've seen the movie.
He slapped her in front of everybody. He just could not keep his hands off her. But one thing, you have to realize something. You can only beat somebody for so long before they turn into you. And he went in there, he come in there that night, drunk, wet all up his back and pants, and he went on laid on the bed. Lord have mercy, he made a mistake. And she burnt the house down with him because I know what it feels like to run into a chair in the middle of the night. I know what it feels like to cut myself with a piece of paper. But do you know what it feels like to be on fire? Yeah, I heard him screaming, but it's too late now. Burn, baby, burn. Because she don't went too far with you. And you took her too far. And another thing too, we need to keep our hands to ourselves. Women don't need to be hitting on men, and certainly men don't need to be hitting on women. We keep our hands. We can't keep our hands to with each other. We can't be together. It's what it is. Now, I'm not going to be in the middle of the night. Yeah, I'm not going to be in the middle of the night like my friend here, that Jerry curl. I don't know why he just can't get rid of that Jerry curl. Man, it's 2025. You still wearing that mess in your head. But she fixed that. Oh, man, he woke up one morning. He had about 3 or 4 patches in his head where she don't beat him into a coma because he don't know how to keep his hands to himself. I tell you, man, you do that to your woman, you go in there, lay down and go to sleep, don't expect to wake up. I'm going to tell you that right now. So let's keep our hands, men, keep your hands to yourself, and certainly women, keep your hands to yourself. And that's all I got to say. And I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Shay.
Uncle Charles, don't go though, because I want to say thank you, because everything you said early on is my life today, and I have been told those same words about letting my kids be who they are and not letting them put me in an early grave. And what else I took from that was when you was talking about you need to take your medicine, I felt like you was saying to me, what works for you do that, you know. And so I just wanted to tell you, you pretty much preached my life to me just now, and you are so right. And also, I've seen a whole lot of other people who were sending prayers my way and thanking me for sharing my story. I thank y'all for not judging me.
Oh
And
no.
and so that was all I wanted to say.
Well,
Oh, Sheila.
what you deserve from us,
Mm-mm.
a lot of kisses and hugs and prayer.
Definitely,
Because
definitely,
prayer will make it
definitely.
work.
Your
Prayer is
way.
good. Prayer is good.
Oh,
Because you
Uncle
don't know when you're gonna
Charles.
leave. Yes, sir.
Uncle Charles, make sure you pull up this Sunday. I'm not sure of the time. I'm gonna probably say, because I know people go to church, so I will probably say around 4 p.m., 4 in the afternoon. We're going to start our first healing class over here. So
Okay.
not only you, Uncle Charles, Nikki, Sheila, and everybody else. I need everybody in attendance. Even if you're not coming up on the panel to speak, I still need everybody in attendance. Any last words, Uncle Charles, before we get out of here?
My last words is after we get off this illustrious show that helps so many people, thousands and maybe hundreds of thousands of people by just tuning
Yes,
in.
it has. Yes, it has.
You need to go in there, and people say, "Well, my knees are so." You get down on the floor anyway. Lay down flat, then lay down on your stomach. But one day you're gonna get that prayer in. That's what you're gonna do, and then and hope God wake you up in the morning and hey, live your life. God, your life's supposed to be lived in abundance. You supposed to live your life. Go on a trip. You want to take a trip. Live your life and have good relationship with your grandbabies and your son and your daughter, because you got some daughters out there and some sons. The mother never hugged them, never, or the daddy. Do you know when I first hugged my daddy? I first hugged my daddy when I was 50 years old. First time ever, because I seen a strong man sick, and I hugged him and I couldn't let him go, and I wasn't gonna let him go. He said, "Son, I'm glad you came." Do you know how that made me feel? That made me feel like because my daddy was a hard man. He worked in the steel mill. My dad didn't know nothing but working and putting that belt on you. That's all he know. That's all he know. And that first time at 50 years old, I hugged him. He said, "I'm all right, son. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm just glad you're here." And see, this is why I say you don't know how long your parents got. You don't know how long you got. So, call somebody tomorrow. Call somebody and they say, "Hey, I love you. I'm finna go to bed, but I do love you." What's wrong? Ain't nothing wrong. I'm just telling you I love you. And leave it at that. And it's going to be all right.
Yeah. And to you, Shank, my grandkids think that you and Miss Parker and two are some real what they call it, the stars on the walk. You know how everybody who's famous, they get a star.
Yeah, Walk of Fame, I think.
Walk of Fame, yeah. They love y'all like I do. And so my Ava is on my lap right now. She just wants to say hi to you and everybody else on the panel because she can't believe I'm talking to y'all.
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
Say
What's her
hi,
name, Sheila? What's her name?
Ava.
What's her
Ava.
name?
Ava.
Hey, Ava. It's Shank.
Ava.
How you
Hey,
doing,
Miss
Ava?
Ava. How you doing, Ava?
Good.
Hey, baby. All
Shout
right.
out to Toot and Miss Parker.
Amen. Yes. Shout out.
Well,
And
y'all keep it up, man. I'll be there, Shane. I'll be there
All
for
right.
you.
I hope to see you this Sunday at 4, Uncle Charles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Any last words, Nikki, before we get out of here?
Yeah, Mr. Charles, like, man, you like the uncle that you want at every cookout. You know what I mean? Like every family functioning, every time you want to get together, even sometimes when you want to go outside and have a drink, you want Mr. Charles right there with you. You
Amen.
spoke so
Yes.
much, you know what I mean, into the universe, so much peace, so much prayer, so much truthfulness that it's just like, it's so overwhelming because a lot of us, as women, even as men, we don't have a lot of our dads and uncles and grandfathers around. And I can honestly say I'm one of them. In my family, I'm one of the smartest people because I went to college and, I went for psychology and I got all A's and I got this and I got that. But that didn't decipher who I am as an individual because I was missing a whole lot. I was missing the family. You know what I mean? I was raised with my grandmother. My mom was, I don't want to say too much because I know, Shank it's 2:00 in the morning and stuff like that. It's getting late. But it's just like having people like y'all around. It makes me want to sign in every time I see Shank doing a demonstration. Come in. It don't matter what it's about. If it's about our little ones, if it's about our people, especially with our baby NAZIYAH, I'm showing up. I'm showing up on every demonstration that I possibly can because he showed me as a man that he's a great man and a great man to Miss Parker. Let's salute that. He's a wonderful man to his woman. You know what I mean? Nothing but respect and kindness and healing and help and servitude and what he gives to his people. And he get to talk his shit and his riders. I'm saying riders. And I'm saying his rocks. Everybody could come in together. And if we gotta even listen to somebody else's channel, we be showing over there like, damn, like, who invited y'all? We came, they invited us. Sorry. You know what I mean? We ain't that was open invitation. We pulling up. All of us pull up. If you notice that this is the only channels that I've seen when you got people that's in both channels pull up for both parts. Because we love them so dearly. They are so real and so raw. So raw. And YouTube. Don't gotta curse. Don't gotta be disrespectful. Don't have to, like speak on, or talk crap about other people. Just speak the word and speak what's going on out here in our universe that we need to pick up and pay attention to and bring light to our eyes. So thank you, Mr. Charles. Thank you, Shank, for doing everything that you do. Thank you, Miss Parker. Thank y'all, the whole chat, the mods. Y'all dope as ever. I ain't going nowhere. I love y'all to pieces, man. I love y'all to pieces. And I thank y'all for even giving me an opportunity to even say a little bit on the panel.
Say it, Nikki.
I'm nervous as hell. I'm always nervous. It don't seem like I am, but I'm nervous even speaking because it's like this is the whole world that you speaking yourself into. And there's so much more to this story. So much more. But I just want to say I thank y'all.
All right, Nikki. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday at 4. We're going to pull up Sunday at 4.
I'm going to be there. I'm pulling up.
All right. Appreciate you.
Me too. I will.
Any last words before we get out of here, Sheila?
God bless each and every one of y'all. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of even your subscribers who did not pass judgment on my story. And I just want to say God bless us all because we all could have been or could be. And so I leave y'all with that. I love you and have a wonderful, blessed, either early morning, late night, however you want to say it. But thank you guys.
Love you too, Sheila, and I appreciate you. We got a new subby, Jeanette. Can I get everybody to give Jeanette a warm welcome? Remember, everybody, if you are interested in purchasing or switching lanes on your funky ass shirt, DM me on Instagram. We have multiple colors. All proceeds will go to my up and coming movie, Switching Lanes on Your Funky Ass. Along with being a content creator, I'm also an independent filmmaker and film producer. All of my movies are independent. That way, I have all the creativity that I need. I don't have to make my movies according to how others feel my movies should be. I'm able to make my movies according to the way that I want to make them. And in all my movies, I love to drop knowledge and I love to give positive messages. So if you would like to support, just DM me on Instagram and I will get you a Switching Lanes on your funky ass shirt. I want to thank all of my guest panelists that came and blessed the panel. I want to thank Sheila for sharing with us her story, because it's not easy. It's not easy. And I want to thank Nikki's significant other for sharing his story. It's not easy coming before people and sharing your story. Once again, I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Make sure y'all are dropping purple and pink hearts in the chat and on the replay gang for NAZIYAH Harris. Also, make sure y'all hashtag justice for NAZIYAH Harris. I'll leave the chat running and you all can hang around. Salute everybody. I'll see everybody back Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern time for our first annual healing class. We're going to open the panel up for everybody to speak whatever it is that they've been through. We want to give people an opportunity to speak on things that they're going through. We want to come up with solutions. We want to do better by our communities, and we want to do better by ourselves, because before you can uplift, before you can do right by others, you got to uplift and do right by yourself first. And this healing class is for all. All religions are welcome. All genders are welcome. All nationalities are welcome. Once again, salute everybody. And if you would like to help us reach our goal for this demonstration of 15 super stickers and super chats, you could click on the $ symbol and purchase a super sticker or a super chat. Even those on the replay gang can help out with the 15 super stickers or super chats. Once again, salute everybody. I'll leave the chat running, and I'll see y'all Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern time.
I'd like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half and half. All right, good looking out.
Tinted window screaming F the law out my mouth. I'm switching lanes from up north to down south. Now everybody trying to figure how I put it down. I took my show on the road straight out of town. Pee-wee is my nigga, so you know I brought some crooks with me.
1998, they tried to throw the book at me.
Tell me what you see every time you take a look at me. A straight P, I only be where the hookers be. A old head, but still can pull any fly chick. One thing's for sure, you never see me ride a nigga dick. I got a thoroughbred who loves to call me pretty daddy. Through Alabama, getting hit in a pink caddy when I come through. Everybody knows me, the young niggas love me. They call me they OG. Go and do your homework about the shit that I spit. They gon' tell you that that nigga Shank is legit. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm
switching lane.
I eat a chicken box before I play a game of spades.
I get some ketchup?
Half is sweet tea mixed with lemonade. Some brown liquor with a coke to sharpen up my skills. I switch lanes cause I only fuck with the real. Now she's a winner, so I got to keep her on my team. Plus I'm a real one, so I never ever sell her dreams. You wanna know if I'll quit or if I'll stop? But they say it ain't over till your casket drops. A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
When I'm switching lane.
A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
When I'm switching lane.
A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
When I'm switching lane.
A chicken box a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
When I'm switching lane.